All right. So now we just finished up the part where I was talking about the humility and how this is such a change from Beowulf and Siegfried, who we saw as boastful and arrogant, and saying that the only worth I have is that I'm related to you, like your blood flows in my veins. Hmm, interesting. So, page 146 about line 130 is where I'm picking up. That I have you for uncle is my only praise. My body, but for your blood, is barren of worth, and for that this folly befits not a king. And 'tis I that have asked it, it ought to be mine. And if my claim be not comely, let all this court judge in sight. The court assays the claim, and in council all unite to give Gawain the game and release the king outright. We have these shorter passages that kind of break in, interrupt, give us a synopsis or explain things a little bit better. So they basically say, okay, Gawain, go ahead. It can be your challenge instead of Arthur's. Oh, there was one other thing I wanted to point out about what Gawain had said. It's kind of like Wiglaf, again, talking about the men that they serve with and what their duty is and how they are supposed to serve well. For Wiglaf, they were supposed to be serving Beowulf and fighting for him, and Gawain brings that up here. We're supposed to be serving Arthur loyally and faithfully as good knights. So this code of chivalry, this sense of honor and duty. Then the king called the knight to come to his side, and he rose up readily and reached him with speed, bows low to his lord, lays hold of the weapon, and he releases it lightly and lifts up his hand, and gives him God's blessing and graciously prays that his heart and his hand may be hearty both. Keep, cousin, said the king, what you cut with this day, and if you rule it aright, then readily I know you shall stand the stroke it will strike after. So you have to kind of judge for yourself if you think Christianity is any stronger in place than it was in Beowulf's time. We didn't really see much of that at all in our Nibelungenlied, but here Arthur blesses Sir Gawain before all of this takes place. Gawain goes to the guest with the gizme in hand, and boldly he bides there, abashed not a whit. Then hails he Sir Gawain, the horseman in green. Recount we our contract ere you come further. First I ask and adjure you how you are called, that you tell me true, so that trust it I may. Okay, so the Green Knight's kind of like, halt, we're going to go over the contract. I want to make sure you're clear on all of this. So first he wants to find out who this knight is. He doesn't know necessarily who it is. In good faith, said the good knight, Gawain am I, whose buffet befalls you, whate'er betide after. Actually, I think that's Buffett. Who's Buffett? This is an interesting word. Buffet is the food spread before you. Buffett is the hitting, and that's what's going to take place. Whose buffet befalls you, whate'er betide after. And at this time, 12-month, take from you another, with what weapon you will, and with no man else alive. So in 12 months, Sir Gawain is going to come with whatever weapon he wants. No other man can he bring with him. And they're going to have a rematch. The other nods assent. Sir Gawain, as I may thrive, I am wondrous well content that you this dint shall drive. Okay, I'm ready for you to chop off my head. Sir Gawain, said the Green Knight, by God I rejoice that your fist shall fetch this favor I seek, and you have readily rehearsed and in right terms each clause of my covenant with the king your lord, save that you shall assure me, sir, upon oath, that you shall seek me yourself, wheresoever you deem my lodgings may lie, and look for such wages as you have offered me here before all this host. So he basically says, come find me. 12 months, wherever you think I'm going to be. And the wages, as you can see from the side note, means a blow for a blow. That's the way the game is played. What is the way there? Said Gawain. Where do you dwell? I heard never of your house, by him that made me. Nor I know you not, knight, your name, nor your court. But tell me truly thereof, and teach me your name, and I shall fare forth to find you so far as I may. And this I say in good certain, and swear upon oath. By him who made me. Of course, that's a reference to God, the creator. So again, a belief in God is shown here. But Gawain's a little worried because he's like, I've never heard of you. I don't know where you live. Tell me so I can fulfill my oath. That is enough in New Year. You need say no more, said the knight in the green to Gawain the noble. If I tell you true, when I have taken your knock, and if you handily have hit, you shall hear straightway of my house and my home and my name, my own name. Then follow in my footsteps by faithful accord. And if I spend no speech, you shall speed the better. You can feast with your friends, no further trace my tracks. Okay. So the Green Knight says he's not going to tell Gawain where he lives or his name or any of that information until he has received the blow. But if he can't speak after this blow occurs, then Gawain won't have to know who he is or where he lives or anything. So you're thinking, okay, he's going to chop his head off. So that's the end of this. Just wait. Now hold your grim tool steady and show us how it hacks. Gladly, sir, already, says Gawain. He strokes the axe. The Green Knight upon ground girds him with care, bows a bit with his head and bares his flesh, his long lovely locks. He laid over his crown, let the naked nape for the need be shown. So basically, he flips his hair over his head like this so that his neck is clear. Easy to see, easy target for Gawain. Isn't he a nice guy? Let the naked nape for the need be shown. Gawain grips to his axe and gathers it aloft. The left foot on the floor before him he set, brought it down deftly upon the bare neck. That the shock of the sharp blow shivered the bones and cut the flesh cleanly and clove it in twain. That the blade of bright steel bit into the ground. The head was hewn off and fell to the floor. Many found it at their feet as forth it rolled. Okay, so this head is chopped off. People are kind of lifting up their feet as the head goes rolling by them. And continuing on. The blood gushed from the body, bright on the green, yet fell not the fellow, nor faltered a whit, but stoutly he starts forth upon stiff shanks. So he had kind of kneeled down, bowed his head. His body stands up. He gets up. Were you expecting that? And as all stood staring, he stretched forth his hand, laid hold of his head, and heaved it aloft. Then goes to the green steed, grasps the bridle, steps into the stirrup, bestrides his mount, and his head by the hair in his hands he holds. In his hand holds, and as steady he sits in the stately saddle, as he had met with no mishap, nor missing were his head. Picks up his head, acts like it's all normal, climbs back up on his horse. He's ready to go. He's got his head here in his hand. His bulk about he hailed, that fearsome body that bled. There were many in the court that quailed before all his say was said. Okay, so people were first freaked out by his appearance, then freaked out by his challenge, and now pretty much freaked out because here's this guy riding off with his head. For the head in his hand he holds right up toward the first on the dais, direct he the face, and it lifted up its lids and looked with wide eyes, and said as much with its mouth as now you may hear. So he turns the head toward King Arthur, Sir Gawain, and it talks to them. Ooh, creepy.